Welcome, beautiful humans. It is Wisdom of the Oracle Wednesday, where we bring a situation into this container and we pull our oracle card and look through our situation through the new perspective of the beautiful message in this beautiful deck of cards. So, no, I'm not a tarot card reader. But I do understand and have a strong faith in all things esoteric and all things energetic. So I really know that if there's a part of your energetic setup that is seeking some sort of message, then a beautiful forum or tool like a beautiful set of oracle cards can be really helpful for just opening your mind to new ways of looking at things and leaning into what is that message and deciding whether or not you feel like it resonates somewhere for you. Now, it might feel like it does not resonate, and that's fine, that's okay. And I always like to encourage people to go, well, if it feels like it doesn't resonate, imagine if it did. Imagine if there was some part of your blocks or some part of your denial or avoidance system, which is really powerful, that is going, that message, that's just crap, or that doesn't seem to make sense, or that's not for me. Fair enough. But I do like to invite you to go, okay, what is in that message that might be for me that I don't want to see, and if there's some part of you going, I need to move forward in this situation, I need to make choices, I need to come up with new ideas or change, or there needs to be some sort of momentum in this situation or some ideas for direction. It can be, our sense of what blocks us that stops us from making the choices and seeing the pathways that are in alignment with our ideal, unique, most potential expression that we are here to be. And so that's why I like to just bring this tool in as an extra perspective, as an extra way of going, okay, I'm going to get out of my own limited set of storytelling patterns and take a look at that message and go, how does that feel for me? Does it feel prickly? Does it have hard edges? Do I feel like I completely doesn't resonate at all? And then I go, okay, well, where does it resonate? Where could I see that it might resonate? Where do I not want it to resonate, So I'll do that in the spirit of going, you know what, I probably do need to soften down in that part of my thinking. That probably is the truth over in that part of my business, So in the spirit of just showing up and offering some service and some love and some energy for your greater good and for the intention of good and supporting and helping, then I'm showing up here, pulling a card and inviting you to bring a situation into this container and take a look at this message and see how and where this message is for your situation, and let's see how we go. So I like to set the container up by asking spirit and source and all divine energy to create like a container for us, so that for the life of this container, it stays a container and the container stays protected with benevolent intentions. And depending on what your culture is and what your spiritual beliefs are, you can call into the container your guides or, your ancestors. And on that note, I would like to pay respect to the traditional owners of this land and this country, going people, and to elders past, present, and emerging. So bring, you can invite ancestors into the container for the purpose of guiding you and helping to give you insights for your specific situation, depending on what your culture and beliefs and, your whole belief system, works. So I'm here in a neutrality sense, not pushing or advocating for any one thing other than love in the pureness of love. So I would like to ask that the container be filled with the intention of benevolent support and to help people have insight and get some guidance and some breakthroughs and some ahas and some ideas for their best self and for their greatest life. What would be the best message that would be of great support to those that find themselves in this container for the life of this container? And I asked that this container, for the life of this container, be held sacred in that intention, that no negative sabotaging energies are able to cause any kind of to enter into this container, that it's purely benevolent and loving. So on that note, I know it's big energies because there's an eclipse, new moon in Aries, and I don't have a lot of knowledge in that space whatsoever, but I know I went to a beautiful circle group of people last night who show up for the new moon and the full moon, and I like to just go along and be in the spirit of those people, you know, who have got big hearts and beautiful souls, but you know, a lot of people have got things going on. And last night I was listening to people as they had this talking stick and were going around the circle just sharing what brings you here tonight, you know, what's your sort of intention for being here. And people had such big things going on, big issues and big tumultuous, you know, hardships that they're navigating in their life. And it kind of made me, I wanted to jump in and, you know, rescue everybody, of course, but I just sat there and shut my mouth, you know, in that it's not for me to do that unless somebody asks me and, you know, is looking for support. I'm not going to, you know, force my support onto them. But it kind of really did make me realize just how blessed and blissful my life is. And I won't say it's perfect. There are things that I'm, you know, that I do struggle with, and I do need to work on, but it's very blissful, and I feel very attuned with who I am and how to navigate the emotions when they come up, how to navigate the situations when they come up, so that they're not these huge, big, you know, storms that are like taking over the bliss and taking over the groundedness and taking over the sense of I guess control doesn't feel like the exact right word, but the sense of, you know, capacity to balance all of the things in life in a really good way. So, you know, I was really grateful that I've done a lot of work. Like, we've done a lot, and I put a lot of time and effort into understanding who am I and what makes me tick. And I really enjoy human design and the gene keys for that, for understanding all the nuances. And it's almost like a look at your destiny when you use those beautiful tools. So I'm grateful for the bliss that I hold in my inner peace, and for all the tools that I've come to learn and know and trust to use in the space that I work in, which is, you know, really helping people to become more in alignment with who they really, really are, and helping them to find who they really, really are in amongst, you know, the messiness and the cacophony and the craziness that this life is on a daily basis. To really raise people up, to really raise their vibration, to really help them to have prosperity, not necessarily loads of money. I mean prosperity in spirit, you know. So bring your situation, bring whatever it is that you want to bring into the container as a subject, and let's ask the benevolent help in this container and your deepest self and the spirit of your deeper knowing and your highest intelligences within you. What would be a really helpful message from this container today? So I will shuffle. If something jumps out, I'll grab it. There it is. Something jumped out. I don't get a lot of jumpers, so, and it's in a protection position, so it's upside down. The card is Come to the Edge. Very pretty. I'll just move it around so you can see in case there's writing on the screen. Come to the edge. Love this deck. Love Colette Baron Reid, who created this deck. Number 36. 36. What's the date today? The 10th of April. So it's 10/4/24. This card is a number 36. Come to the edge. So I'm going to read the whole card, the essential meaning, all the different aspects of the meaning and the essence in this card. But given that it was in the upright position, just take due note of that as well. So the essential meaning is courage, taking a leap into faith, overcoming fear and accepting risk. That's going to mean something different for all the different people looking at this, because your situation is going to be different. What is coming to the edge for you in the situation you're bringing into this container? What does that really mean for you? What's the risk in coming to the edge? What is overcoming fear and accepting risk? What's the fear you really need to overcome? Often people don't really understand what the real fear is. There's like a surface level sort of fear, but really underneath that, it's quite a profound story going on, that you're not really super cognizant of, which is the work that I do to help people find those deeper stories and not just get so sort of tossed around in the wind by those seemingly surface level emotions or stories. So what does it really mean for you to have courage, take a leap of faith, overcoming fear and accepting risk? Oracle's message: facing the unknown is the only choice you really have right now if you want to progress. Facing the unknown. What does that mean for you in your situation? Or where might this apply for you that you didn't really want to look at, It's okay to be afraid. It's okay to feel the fear and do something anyway. Now's the time to take a risk that is not so calculated, not so spreadsheeted, You can lean into, you've got so many intelligences in your chart, in your human design. Mine are different to yours, are different to the next person and the next person. Your destiny, your gene keys and the human design chart, which really helps you understand the nuances of who you are, all different, to each other in all the different, ages and stages of our life. There is a stage where people will go through a huge transformation, and it very often comes in a big way, like everything seems to fall away as you've constructed it. You've got these structures like a marriage and a job and a friendship group, or whatever it is, a business, and there's all these structures that you hold yourself within in your identity. There's a time in your life where it's like those structures all start to feel like they're falling away before your very eyes, and we can get clingy to them because we're like, who am I? Where do I go? What do I think? Who am I? Where are my safeties and securities? Because it is the time where you are meant to transform and go to another level of being yourself and another level of showing up in life. And often the way that these things fall away for us it's like our wound. It becomes, it's messy, right? But it becomes your message. It's like your wound becomes your wisdom. And so I would invite you to just, take that bit of information and go, is that what's happening for you at the moment? Because there's a more graceful way that you can go through a life where it feels like all your security structures are disintegrating for some reason. How else does Source and Universe make things happen, Now's the time to take a risk that is not calculated, to feel the exhilaration as you ready yourself for a leap of faith. Spirit is present, so let go of fear. You are called to express your true self. And I would say you're called to understand your true self, because there's a lot of lingo around about I'm speaking my truth and I'm just, saying it, I'm being my true self. And people are not doing that. They're being emotionally sort of explosive, I suppose, for want of another word, and it's not really coming from their truth. It's a time where they really need to learn what their truth really, really is. So they might be speaking their truth. This is what I'm feeling right now, like, you know, you all have to accept me because I'm speaking my truth, but your truth in that moment might be coming from a wound. And so I just wanted to make that, what's that word? Notice the difference between really coming from authenticity and authentic alignment with your true self, and just being honest about how you feel right now, which might be coming from wound, you know. Listen to your heart and soul, and not just giving your head all of the reins. Come to the edge and discover that you can fly. You must step into the unfamiliar so that you may find your miracles. And you know, I've done this. Stepping into the unfamiliar is really scary, and you can feel really ungrounded, and it's confusing, and that is scary. It's like I'm letting go of this whole identity, and I'm leaping over into this other part of my life where I feel like I can't lean into old ways of how I used to know myself. And your brain and your mind will want to just take you back to old, you know, conditioned and very habitual thoughts. And this sort of message is saying, try to let go of wanting to fling back into old ways of thinking if it's time to metamorph and go into a new way of being, because you're going to have to call on new intelligences within yourself, and not just rely on your head all the time, because you'll find yourself doing this where you're being the caterpillar sort of morphing into the butterfly, and it's so friggin' scary. You don't know who you are in that transition, so your brain will go this and this, and it'll steal away the attachment and the leaning into and starting to tap into the all the other wisdoms and intelligences that are trying to fire up for you. The brain will go and cut them off and block them, you know. So just to keep that in mind as well. The relationship message says it's scary to be truly intimate with someone, to allow them to see all of you, especially the parts that you've kept hidden and protected. You know, there was a person in the circle last night that wouldn't share, and she didn't want to do any of the exercises because she said, oh no, I've got all the stuff that I've got going on. I've got that shoved right down, and I'm not ready to let that come out and look at it and deal with it. I've just swallowed it and shoved it down. And like, imagine taking that into a relationship. You know, it's not very authentic, really, is it? If you're not going to share what's really happening in your body. Now is the time to take the risk and let yourself be seen, to be truly seen. It's important that you speak up and to voice what you need and to state who you are, so and say what you really hope for. And I think also be open while you're doing that, because you need to also allow the other party or the other parties to hold that same space where we're not judging, pinching each other off. We're just going, if you're being really honest, what is it that you're feeling and what you want? And when we listen with open-hearted acceptance and go, okay, fine, I've heard you. This is who I am and what I really hope for. And you just accept each other and love each other for that. But if it's not what you're looking for, that's okay. That's okay too. You know, we don't have to squash each other into a shape because that's what we want. You know, you've got to be like this because that's what I want you to be. That's not really fair, and it's not freedom of spirit. So it's very unliberating, and that's a part of my gene keys is liberation. It's important that you do speak up though, and that you do say what you feel like your heart needs, and say, you know, speak what your hopes are from a place of love and for yourself and other. This isn't a time to just play it safe, but to take a leap of faith, and you'll be glad that you did. If you're seeking a relationship, the same applies. Take one step toward the gods, and they will deliver what you truly desire. The prosperity message, look, and when we say the gods, that will be different for everybody. You know, each day I will say meditations and prayers differently. Sometimes I will just speak to the universe and to speak to Mother Nature, and just to speak to the energy of nature. And other times the words to me, Great Spirit, will come to me, and I'm like, I don't know where those words come from, but they're the words I feel like I need to say today. Some days it's God. So I don't let words get in the way. I tap into where my energy feels like it needs on that day, and feed it love by whatever word I need to say. So I think that we need to give each other some beautiful space when it comes to that. Take one step toward the gods, and they will deliver what you truly desire. And I think what we truly desire can be more of a heart and soul and less of a brain head space thing. You know, these are the things that my conditioning says that I should desire is different to what your heart and soul really desire. The prosperity message: if ever there was a time for you to take a leap of faith into the unknown, it's now. Gosh, this is a recurring theme, isn't it? This is the perfect moment to take a big risk. It's very much the message of this eclipse, moon in Aries, new moon message as well. This is the perfect moment to take a big risk. The unknown is the only choice now. And if you come to the edge, you will discover treasure beyond your wildest dreams. And those words, beyond your wildest dreams, they really resonate for me, because you know, when you think you want something and you're asking for something, if you leave it to divine and to source to bring it, you know, like, I'm hungry and I really need some food and I want it to be sweet, but don't say it's got to be a chocolate chip cookie and it's got to have white macadamia white chocolate and it's got to be this shape. You know, like, I just want something sweet and refreshing, and leave some of the details to the universe, you know. So the unknown is the only choice now. If you come to the edge, discover treasure beyond your wildest dreams. Allow your courage to lead you in spite of your fears. You do not need to know the exact form, I just said that, of what you're going for. The essence is much more powerful, which is what I said. I'm looking for something sweet and juicy. That's the essence of what I want to eat, as opposed to the exact form. It has to be a chocolate chip cookie. The essence is much more powerful. The Spirit has a way of delivering an even better version of prosperity than you could ever imagine. So take that step. The results will be amazing. Keeping in mind, prosperity isn't like cash. It can be. Prosperity is how rich you feel, because how you see and move through the world, what your filters are, how you can have prosperous moments in every part of the day. Now, as it was in protection message, which is, Dune, I'm going to read the protection message, and that may resonate more for some of you than others. It's a long one today. Fear is leading the way into places that you do not need to go. Most of what you fear at the moment is just an illusion stemming from an old belief that is not actually true. Now is a time for courage. Some old conditioning might need to come off, you know, like a banana peel. You need to peel it off and move into the next phase. Now's the time for courage. You will not be lost at sea. You will not watch everyone else get what you want while you're left alone and unloved. That is not what's going to happen. Oh, the drama of it all. So it's saying, like, really step out of that fear and leaning to some more faith around, if you really tap into your heart and soul, if you really tap into your creative juices and what lights you up, you know, what brings you joy, what sparks, you know, joy and attention in you, you know, what is it that you would do? It's like, oh wow, blah 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 blah, or you'd stay up doing it all night and not realize, you know, or you do it for free. What is it that sparks joy in you, as opposed to the shoulds, the conditioned shoulds, which our whole generation is really breaking that down and moving into, how do I learn to live as the true creature that I am, as opposed to everyone being the same soldier marching to the same beat and coming through the same education system and having to try and be the same when we are not. We're all different, and our real job and purpose in this life is to know what we are and what we bring to the world, and to know that everyone has got their own purpose for what to bring to the world. The universe is creating itself for itself. So it's our job to be our unique self and not just stay trapped in that dogmatic should conditioned set of how life should go. And that is scary and hard to do. So I hope that that helps you in whatever situation that you have brought to this container, Wisdom of the Oracle Wednesday container, held to you by Roslyn Loxton. So thank you for joining me. I will be back here next Wednesday, providing all the stars and the moon and the planets align and I can. But my intention is to be here next Wednesday to do this all over again. For the life of this container, I have asked that the container stays with the same intention and to stay protected from any negative sabotaging sort of energies. Reach out to me. I'm going to put a link in here, so if you would like to speak with me about any of your situations, we can have a session where we tap in to the messages of the oracle, and we leverage off that to have our conversation, or we can have the conversation however you like to, if there's something that you need to explore. For now, I'm going to send you big love and big encouragement to live your best self and your best life as your most authentic, aligned self. Bye for now. Yeah!